Imagine this moment. The world's tech community is holding its breath as Samsung, the South Korean giant, draws back the curtain on its newest foldable marvels at the celebrated Galaxy Unpacked event. Lights pulsate, executives radiate excitement, and the Galaxy Z Fold 7 and Z Flip 7 are showcased as the crown jewels of modern mobile engineering. Sleek, audacious, and boasting an impossibly slender profile. Yet, as the crowd's applause echoes, an unexpected twist unfolds. From across the Pacific, a Chinese competitor, barely a blip in Western media, launches a device that is not only even slimmer and lighter, but also brimming with innovations that appear to leapfrog Samsung's best. Suddenly, the global tech spotlight pivots eastward. The question surges with newfound urgency. Are we witnessing the end of Western, and particularly South Korean and American, dominance in the world of consumer smartphones right before our very eyes? For close to a decade, Samsung has worn the foldable phone crown. Each Galaxy Unpacked event has been a ritualistic milestone for tech watchers, setting trends and expectations for the coming year's mobile hardware. The latest Z Fold 7 and Z Flip 7 are, without a doubt, masterpieces, setting records for thinness, featuring a featherweight design, and sporting a crease so faint it borders on invisible. They embody the culmination of painstaking engineering and years of steady evolution. Yet, underneath the dazzling lights and slick marketing, a sense of déjà vu lingers. For those who track the industry closely, the sentiment is familiar. Haven't we witnessed this before? This is not mere nitpicking. A growing chorus of industry analysts, journalists, and even longtime Samsung enthusiasts are beginning to voice their apprehensions. As one respected commentator at Wired observed, "It's a hall of echoes typical of the iterative progress loop much of consumer tech hardware has fallen into. In essence, the so-called latest and greatest often feels suspiciously similar to the previous year's headliner. Peel away the glossy advertisements, and the upgrades can appear subtle, incremental, rather than revolutionary. The sense of wonder that once defined each launch is now being replaced by a slow, creeping fatigue." Meanwhile, a tectonic shift is gathering momentum across the Pacific Ocean. Chinese tech powerhouses, names like Huawei, Honor, Xiaomi, and Oppo, are no longer content to be labeled as mere imitators or fast followers. They are reshaping the very rules of the game, and they are doing so at a breakneck pace. Over the past 12 months, these companies have collectively boosted their research and development budgets by an average of 1/4, a staggering leap that signals not just ambition, but also a newfound confidence. State support, strategic investments, and a vast, technology-hungry domestic market have accelerated this metamorphosis. Let's dig into the hard facts. According to the most recent quarterly data, Huawei's market share in China's foldable phone segment surged by nearly 1/2 year-on-year. That is not just impressive growth. It is nothing short of a revolution. Even more telling, Chinese companies filed patents for foldable phone technology at a rate that is 35% higher this year than ever before, overtaking Samsung's total for the first time in history. And the display titan BOE is on track to manufacture 6 out of every 10 foldable screens worldwide by the end of the coming year. An unprecedented realignment in the global supply chain. But what is driving this innovation wildfire? The answer lies in the explosive demands of Chinese consumers, who now represent 2/3 of global foldable phone buyers. According to Neil Shah of Counterpoint Research, Chinese consumers are actively seeking unique and advanced devices, driving foldable market growth and pushing domestic brands to innovate faster. This is not a passive audience. It is a crucible of competition, where only the boldest and most inventive companies can survive and thrive. Chinese brands have the unparalleled advantage of testing daring features and radical designs on their home turf, refining them before unleashing them on the global stage. The results are impossible to ignore. Honor's Magic V5 didn't just edge out Samsung to the coveted sub-9mm foldable milestone. It did so by launching days before Samsung's own event, a move that felt almost like a calculated display of confidence. Huawei's Mate X3 has introduced a groundbreaking trifold design, unlocking new possibilities for what a smartphone can become. Oppo's Find N3 is setting benchmarks with a battery that not only lasts longer but also charges faster than any comparable Samsung device. Meanwhile, Xiaomi, always an aggressive innovator, is investing heavily to create foldables that blend top-tier performance, exceptional durability, and head-turning aesthetics. Let's pause and reflect on the wider significance. For years, the narrative seemed set in stone. Western companies and their allies in Asia, Think Japan and South Korea drive innovation, while China manufactures. That old story is now being rewritten. As technology analyst Dan Wang bluntly puts it, China's technological development is considerably more dynamic than the country's image suggests. Chinese industries are reaching world-class standards. In many instances, they are not just reaching the bar, they are setting it. This is where the tension crackles. As Chinese brands surge ahead, devouring both market share and mindshare, Samsung faces a critical crossroads. Can it recapture the innovation edge it once held? Or are we witnessing the dawn of a new technological world order, one led by China, with the rest of the world following? The stakes could not be higher, not just for Samsung, but for the entire global tech ecosystem. Let's break down the potential consequences. If Samsung cannot close the innovation gap, it risks becoming the next Nokia, a once mighty brand overtaken by faster, nimbler rivals. For consumers, this new era means a tidal wave of choices, breakthrough features, and lower prices as brands fiercely compete for attention. For investors, a seismic shift is underway, signaling where future returns and opportunities may emerge. And for policymakers, it is a wake-up call, forcing urgent debates about supply chains, intellectual property, and even national security. What happens if this trend continues? Let's peer into the near future. If Chinese brands maintain their relentless pace of innovation, we could see the global foldable phone market transformed beyond recognition. Companies such as Huawei, Honor, Xiaomi, and Oppo are not just increasing their R&D investments by a quarter each year. They are unleashing a torrent of avant-garde designs and features, consistently outpacing Samsung. Already, a full two-thirds of all foldable phone sales take place within China, with domestic brands dictating the terms of competition. Industry experts, like Linda Sui from Strategy Analytics, caution that Samsung must dramatically accelerate its innovation efforts or risk fading into irrelevance. Meanwhile, BOE, the Chinese display manufacturing behemoth, is poised to produce 60% of all foldable screens worldwide by the close of next year. Imagine a scenario where the majority of smartphones, even those branded as Samsung, rely on Chinese-made displays, batteries, and core components. That is not just a supply chain adjustment. It is a fundamental reordering of global technology power. The road ahead, however, is fraught with risk and uncertainty. The escalating technology rivalry between the United States and China threatens to fracture global markets. Trade restrictions, export controls, and growing political tensions could split the tech world into parallel universes, one ruled by Chinese giants, the other by Western brands. MIT economist David Autor warns of a China Shock 2.0, with China's dominance in advanced technologies like semiconductors, electric vehicles, and now foldable phones, potentially reshaping global employment, economies, and even the very speed of innovation. And then, there's the perennial wildcard, Apple. If Apple decides to enter the foldable phone race, the impact could be seismic. Apple's immense brand loyalty and obsessive focus on polished user experience could legitimize the foldable category for millions of users who have hesitated so far. Yet, will that be enough for Western brands to reclaim their lead? Or will Chinese firms maintain their advantage with faster launches, bolder designs, and relentless iteration? To understand the broader context, let's revisit a powerful historical parallel. Think back to the dawn of the automobile industry. For decades, American and European automakers dominated, setting standards and shaping the market. Then, in the latter half of the 20th century, Japanese car makers entered with a laser focus on efficiency, reliability, and value. Within a generation, they had overturned the industry, forcing established names to adapt or fade away. Today, we might be witnessing a similar narrative in smartphones, except this time, the challenger is China, and the cadence of change is even more rapid. Consider the Shanghai Auto Show, where Chinese electric vehicle makers like BYD astounded Western observers with their innovation, scale, and ambition. Wired's Alastair Charlton described the event as a warning to the West, emphasizing how Chinese brands are now poised to challenge and even surpass their Western counterparts, not only in vehicles, but across the entire landscape of consumer electronics. The strategy is clear. Double down on features, design, charging speeds, and scale. Bring products to market faster, and capitalize on the immense domestic market as a springboard for global expansion. Let's bring this discussion back to foldables. What does all of this mean for you as a consumer, investor, or tech enthusiast? First, It heralds a golden age of choice. With brands competing at a feverish pace, you can expect a deluge of features, higher performance, and lower prices. Honor's Magic V series is rewriting the rules on slimness. Huawei's Trifold Mate X3 is expanding the very definition of what a phone can be. And Oppo's cutting-edge silicon-carbon batteries promise to keep your device powered longer than ever before. The age of slow, predictable upgrades is over. Now every launch promises a genuine leap forward. Second, it is time to discard outdated stereotypes. The old notion that Chinese tech is merely about copying or low-cost assembly is well and truly dead. Today, Chinese companies are at the forefront of both innovation and flawless execution. As Dan Wang notes, Chinese industries are reaching world-class standards. Sometimes, they are setting new ones. Companies are investing billions in research, filing more patents than ever, and attracting elite engineering talent from around the world. The days when China was just the workshop of the world are over. It is now a laboratory of relentless invention. Third, for investors, this shifting landscape presents both enormous opportunity and significant challenge. The balance of tech power is shifting eastward, and those who fail to adapt risk being left behind. Park Il-young, CEO of Korea Investment Fund, puts it succinctly. China's tech sector has strong growth potential, driven by government support and a large domestic market. The message is clear: pivot, invest, or risk irrelevance in this new era. Fourth, for policymakers and governments, the stakes could hardly be higher. Decisions about supply chains, intellectual property protection, trade policy, and even national security are increasingly being shaped in Shenzhen, Beijing, and Shanghai. The meteoric rise of Chinese tech champions is forcing governments around the world to rethink everything, from tariffs to technology standards, cybersecurity, and digital sovereignty. The world is watching as the old rules are rewritten, often in real time. Fifth, as a consumer, this is an invitation to embrace curiosity. Don't just gravitate toward familiar Western brands out of habit. The next major leap in smartphone design or user experience may very well come from a brand you have never considered until now. With so many new entrants and bold new models, why not step outside your comfort zone? The best device for your needs may not wear the most recognizable logo, but it could deliver features and value that leave you wondering why you waited so long to try something new. Yet let's not forget, the race is far from over. Samsung remains a formidable competitor, with global reach, a fiercely loyal fan base, and a reputation for quality that has been hard-earned over decades. However, Chinese brands have seized the initiative, out-innovating, out-investing, and outselling competitors within the world's largest and most dynamic technology market. Unless Samsung adapts quickly, by ramping up research and development, reimagining its design philosophy, and embracing calculated risks, it could find itself playing catch-up in a market it once led. Here's a little-known secret. The next generation of foldables devices thinner than a pencil, as powerful as a top-tier laptop, and featuring displays that can roll, twist, or even stretch, are already being refined in Chinese laboratories. Some of these prototypes are light years ahead of what is available on store shelves today. Insiders whisper about flexible glass engineered to endure thousands of folds, batteries that can be fully charged in under 10 minutes, and artificial intelligence features that anticipate your needs before you even think to ask. The pace of transformation is dizzying. Just a handful of years ago, the concept of a foldable phone seemed like science fiction, a curiosity for trade shows and concept videos. Today, you'll spot them on subways, in coffee shops, and at boardroom tables. And the next wave is building even faster than anyone imagined. Will a Chinese brand be first to deliver a truly seamless foldable tablet phone hybrid? Might Samsung stage a comeback with a radical new design? Or could Apple enter the fray and, once again, rewrite the rules of the entire category? There are even whispers of disruptive new form factors, wearable foldables that wrap around your wrist like a bracelet, or devices that unfold to become both a phone and a laptop, blurring the boundaries between categories entirely. Chinese brands are already filing patents for these visionary ideas, and with their willingness to experiment and iterate, it is likely only a matter of time before some of these concepts make their way to market. The implications extend far beyond the realm of gadgets. The surge of Chinese tech prowess is reshaping global supply chains, challenging the primacy of Silicon Valley and Seoul, and rewriting the very playbook for innovation. It is forcing Western brands to adapt faster, invest more boldly, and take risks that once seemed unthinkable. For consumers, it promises more power, greater choice, and a thrilling pace of progress. For nations and corporations, it is a race against the clock. So can Samsung catch up in this new era? The answer is anything but simple. The South Korean titan still boasts immense resources, deep expertise, and a powerful brand, but it now faces a cadre of younger, hungrier, and often more risk-embracing rivals. The battle for the future of smartphones will not be won with safe, incremental improvements. It will demand bold bets, radical designs, and a willingness to challenge every established assumption. Let's broaden the lens even further. The story unfolding in the smartphone world echoes what has happened and is happening in other technology sectors. In the realm of electric vehicles, for example, Chinese companies such as BYD and NIO have not only caught up to their Western counterparts, but are now setting the pace in battery technology, autonomous driving, and mass-market adoption. Their ability to rapidly prototype, scale, and iterate on new models has left legacy automakers scrambling to keep up. This same relentless drive is now visible in the smartphone space, where Chinese brands are leveraging lessons learned from other industries to outmaneuver the old guard. Moreover, the Chinese government's role cannot be underestimated. Strategic investments, subsidies for key components, and policies that favor domestic champions have all contributed to creating an environment where risk-taking and innovation are not just encouraged, they are expected. This ecosystem nurtures everything from university research partnerships to startup incubators, ensuring a steady pipeline of fresh ideas and technical breakthroughs. The result? A competitive advantage that is both deep and difficult to replicate. Meanwhile, Western companies are grappling with their own challenges. From regulatory hurdles to supply chain disruptions and the pressures of shareholder expectations, the pace of change can sometimes feel glacial by comparison. The traditional model of annual product cycles and cautious innovation is starting to look outdated in a world where Chinese rivals can bring a concept from drawing board to market in a matter of months. Looking ahead, the next few years promise to be nothing short of transformative. Will we see a split in the global tech ecosystem, with parallel standards and products serving different regions? Or will one set of players manage to break through and dominate worldwide? The only certainty is that the rules are being rewritten as we speak. For those watching from the sidelines, or from the palm of their hand, this is a moment of rare excitement. Never before have consumers had such a range of options, from ultra-thin foldables to devices that blend the best of tablets, laptops, and smartphones into a single form. Never before have investors faced such a rapidly shifting landscape, where yesterday's leader can so quickly become tomorrow's also-ran. As we watch this drama play out, remember, the next chapter of smartphone history is being drafted right now, in laboratories and factories stretching from Shenzhen to Seoul to Cupertino. If you want to stay ahead of the curve, keep your eyes on this space. Subscribe, leave a comment. Would you take a chance on a Chinese foldable, or do you believe Samsung will reclaim the crown? Is this a tech arms race, or are we witnessing the birth of a new global order? One thing remains clear. The story is just beginning. The era of Western dominance may be drawing to a close, but the next age of innovation is already